Mushroom matcha is something that can have just an incredible impact on your health, on your overall well-being, on your focus and productivity. I know it's something that, since I've been incorporating it into my routine, has been just incredible. And one of the challenges is when you're evaluating sort of, drink supplements like this, there's always just such a wide range of quality, and it can be really hard to tell which are going to actually be effective, which are going to taste good, and which are going to be beneficial for your health, and maybe which are actually going to be detrimental for your health. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. Let's look at the 4 things that you should look at when you're trying to decide on the right mushroom matcha. So the first thing that you really want to consider is, what's your goal? Why do you even want to try a mushroom matcha? This is important just because it will help you decide on a few things that we're going to talk about later. I would just guess that for most of you, the reason is health. Otherwise, why really look at something so specific like a mushroom matcha? And one of the big benefits of it is typically health related. The second thing that I often see is something more related to focus and productivity. That can maybe even include things like having a caffeine sensitivity and just coffee not really working for you. And the last is maybe the health and the focus and everything and just secondary to you, but you just really care about flavor. You just love to have a matcha in the morning, and why not get some extra benefits? The second thing is the quality of the matcha. So obviously this is going to have a massive impact on both the flavor and also the end health benefits that you can get from a mushroom matcha. This is a huge topic. I'm going to do plenty more videos just about this. You can even check out our TikTok for lots of information about matcha specifically. But to keep it simple, here are a few things that you can pretty easily look for to figure out if you found a good quality matcha. 1, look for a matcha that is ceremonial grade. Ceremonial grade is really known to be the highest grade of matcha. Of course, it's a pretty broad category in itself, so even that has a lot of nuance, but ceremonial grade is going to really have you rest assured that you're getting something of good quality. If you don't see ceremonial grade specified, or you see culinary grade mentioned, then it's probably not a very high quality matcha. Ceremonial grade matcha is going to have better flavor, it's going to be sweeter, it's going to be less bitter, and it's even going to have a higher concentration of nutrients and have more health benefits. Some other clues to look for is, what does the sourcing look like for the matcha? You are almost definitely going to want to look for matcha that's sourced from a specific region of Japan, not just Japan, and definitely not outside of Japan. So look for specific regions. For example, Uji, Japan, which is where we source our matcha from, is really like the birthplace of matcha in Japan, and it's where these traditional techniques and growing techniques, processing, have been perfected over hundreds of years. Now that you know what to look for when it comes to matcha, let's talk about the mushrooms. This one actually requires a little bit more of a technical understanding, and I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can in a short period of time. One of the first things that I always recommend looking for is mention of fruiting body mushrooms. Many companies do not use fruiting body mushrooms, or they use fruiting body mushrooms and mycelium. Actually, maybe the most important thing to look for is mycelium, because if the company is using mycelium, then you can almost guarantee that the quality of the mushroom supplement is lower quality. The fruiting body is really what you think of as the mushroom itself. If you're eating a mushroom, for example, you are eating the fruiting body of the mushroom. The mycelium are like the roots of the mushroom, everything that's underground that you don't really see. Many companies, what they end up doing is they grow the mycelium, those roots, which actually end up growing very quickly, on a grain substrate, so like oats or rice, and they take that, they don't actually use the fruiting body, or they use very little of the fruiting body, and they basically just put all of that into a grinder and grind it up into a powder. That is really not going to get you the benefits that you're looking for from a mushroom supplement. The process that you have to go through to get a high quality mushroom supplement is first to use the fruiting body of the mushroom, and then put that through an extraction process. Extraction helps to break down the mushroom in a way where we're actually pulling out the active compounds that you need to get the benefits. So for example, with lion's mane mushroom, if you're using that for focus, you need to put it through an extraction process, ideally at least a water extraction. Your body can't really break it down on its own to to extract those beneficial compounds. Studies also show that the fruiting body is more effective than the mycelium, which is another one of the very important reasons why you want to use it. It's not just because you don't want all of that grain and mycelium and everything in there, it's because that stuff doesn't really work. The other side of it is actually because of the flavor. When you use the mycelium with the grain, that ends up in your final product. You have to use a lot of it. And when you use a fruiting body extract, you can actually extract it at a high potency, which allows you to use less of the extract in the final product and ends up giving you better flavor. All right, I know that was a lot. So if you have any questions, just drop a comment and let me know. Here's the fourth thing to look for when evaluating any mushroom matcha. You really want to look for any additives or fillers, and that can be anything from added sugars or milk powders, or like we talked about before, it could even come in the form of oats or rice and things of that nature. Everyone's going to have a different preference on this. Personally, I usually prefer to go with something that has no additives whatsoever. So no milk powders, no erythritol or sugar alcohols, nothing like that. So just look at the full ingredient list and you can make that decision for yourself. Some people, if health maybe isn't their top concern and flavor is more important here, then maybe you do want to consider a latte blend or something like that. And maybe all the additives isn't as big of a deal for you, but for many people that may be more of a concern, putting these unnecessary additional things into your body when especially you're trying to drink something that's supposed to be really healthful. So specific things you can look for, erythritol. So sometimes you might see brands use a monk fruit powder that actually also contains erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. We actually use monk fruit powder in our lightly sweetened blend, but it's 100% pure organic monk fruit powder, no erythritol. The other thing you can look for those milk powders, like I mentioned before, personally, I like to have a latte, but I'd prefer to make it with the milk that I can just buy at the store on my own, and it's going to be much higher quality and taste much better. Basically, you just want as simple an ingredient list as possible. So those are the four things that I would really take a look at and think about when you're considering mushroom matcha. And I'm curious, is there anything that I missed? Let me know, drop a comment. Or is there anything that you want me to expand on? Let me know. I would love to answer your questions. And if this resonated with you at all, if you're looking for something specifically made with the highest quality ingredients and without all the additives, then definitely check out Wonder Matcha, check out Pao. I'll leave a link below the video. But there are definitely other great brands out there, and I encourage you to do your research and check it out. There's all sorts of benefits that you can get from exploring your options. Thank you so much